Welcome to my channel. In this video, we continue our set of tutorials on how to fly. And in this video, we have a new student pilot. She is also another important VIP. And in this tutorial, we will cover the basics of autopilot. However, because we want to cover moving forward a number of tutorials on navigation, and then we want to go into advanced navigation, we have selected another very beautiful aircraft we will use in these upcoming tutorials. It is the Cessna 414. Very beautiful aircraft in real life and a very well simulated aircraft. It is really awesome from all perspectives. It's a twin engine, very powerful. It has a pressurized cockpit. You can use this aircraft to fly to very high. I mean, we don't want to focus that much on the technical specifications of this aircraft, but as you can see here, it has a pressurized system that can be used while climbing above 10,000 feet. But in the upcoming few number of tutorials, we will cover the basics of first autopilot, and then we will go into the advanced GPS. We have selected this aircraft to have this 750 Garmin. It is an awesome as well, touch screen navigation systems, and we will learn about those in good level of details. We will also, of course, cover many aspects of operating this beautiful aircraft, and we'll have very beautiful number of flights. So let's begin this tutorial. To begin, actually, even though this aircraft has a procedure for starting this aircraft, but what we will do in this first one, we will just do the basics to get it started so that we can take off and start the navigation, as we mentioned, using the autopilot system as fast as possible. Now, this aircraft is what's called on cold and dark state, which means it's completely off. So we will just do the necessary elements to make it run. So first of all, as you can see, this aircraft has two reservoirs for gas. And first, we can make sure here from the flight simulator, we can have, it has 11%. Let's increase it a little bit. So we have here 20%. Because we will not be flying that much. And we can select the left engine to take fuel from the left reservoir, and the right one to take from the right one. You can, of course, do them. You can do changes as required. So now we've selected those, and then after this, we make sure this mixture is selected to the maximum. And the propellers, because this one has a propeller, and we'll explain about this in the upcoming videos. These aircrafts, they use something called fixed RPM. This is to optimize the fuel consumption and the power generation from the engines. So the propellers rotate to optimize the energy used by the engines. So we'll cover how this operates in more level of details. Now let's focus on starting these aircrafts. So we come here, this is the initial part here, and as you can see, these are a kind of security. So this is the master battery. Once we click this, we will connect the battery system, and here, of course, we start to consume energy from the battery, and this is why you don't need to stay a lot in this stage, because you may run out of battery. Now, the first thing, we need to immediately start the engines. Actually here, let's have some, lights, the navigation lights, turn it on. And number two, immediately we need to come and run the magnetos. These are the four magnetos that they generate electricity for the spark plugs. And this is called here the priming of the engines, because now there is the fuel pump is not operational, so there are no fuels inside the engine. So this will have an auxiliary. You notice here we run the right engine first, so like 6-7 seconds, and now there is a fuel inside the engines. We can just click this, and wow, amazing sound from the engine. Let's see them from outside. Very beautiful aircraft. All right, so okay, we can see here the RPM for engine 1 is around 1000 RPM, and now let's run engine 2, which is, let's do it here so that we can see it starting. Also, we prime it. And enough. Engine 2 is also running. And as you can see here, the RPM is catching up. It's the RPM. And this is the power. So as we mentioned in this video, we will not cover the operation of the aircraft in details, but this is now good enough. Now the aircraft is running. We need to do something here. They generate electricity, so that now we are still consuming the battery. And now we turn on the other lights, taxi light. Now this green thing here, all the buttons are related to the anti-icing, because this can fly in difficult weather conditions. There are a lot of anti-icing system in the aircraft. Reduce the volume slightly of the engine. All right. Now this will turn on the avionics. And now we have the navigation system operating. And we can turn on the lights as well, even though it's day-night, but we enjoy it. This aircraft has a landing gear as well. And after we take off, we of course take up the landing gear. Okay, so now the aircraft is operating, and we can take off. Now, as we mentioned in this video, we will focus on the basics of the autopilot system. In the coming videos, we will cover, as we mentioned, the details. Now, in this video, we will cover two things in the autopilot. We will cover mainly how to operate the autopilot to control the pitch, which means, what does it mean when we say the autopilot will control the pitch? This means we can set the altitude and let the autopilot climb to that altitude, or when we reduce the altitude, we want to descend, we can let the autopilot also change the pitch so that we can descend. So this is what's very important about the autopilot. Also, autopilot in this case, also we will use it to set the heading, so that the autopilot will control the rolling of the aircraft, so that we can turn left and right and head on a certain direction. So in this video, we will use mainly one function in the autopilot here, which is called the heading mode. We will not use the navigation mode in this one, or the approach mode for landing. Okay, I may use it if I want to come back and land, but I will explain the landing features in good level of details in the next videos. But in this one, I think we're going to end the video while we are flying, and in the upcoming ones we will start to operate this. This is an awesome, as we mentioned, a navigation system, which we will cover in many videos that are coming. So now let's take off, and after taking off, we will operate the autopilot. Let's begin. As we see here, we are in Auckland International Airport, and our craft is in here. Okay, so we will go to runway 30 and take off. This aircraft has very powerful engines. We have a plenty of runway so that we will enter the runway from here. We don't need to go to the beginning of the runway. Now we should take the permission from ATC, but we assume that we already got the permission. And the normal rules, whenever you take off, you need to go up to around 450 to 500 feet before you start to turn. And you should do this before you finish the runway. Got the stall warning light. So this aircraft is very realistic. Can climb very fast. So now, and it's not forgiving in terms of control. So now we are about 1,800 feet. Let's engage the autopilot. So immediately once we engage the autopilot, we are in rolling mode, which means the autopilot will continue the existing scenario, which means we were before climbing at this rate. It will continue to climb at this rate, which is of course not what we want. So we can immediately set a certain altitude here. Let's say we want to climb to 3,000 feet. Okay, and then we click here on altitude. And now the aircraft is supposed to go to 3,000 feet. Use the volume a little bit more of the aircraft so that we can talk. All right, so the aircraft in fact is going up to 3,000 feet now, as you can. And then what is the rate of climb? Now we can set normally the rate of climb here by going to vertical speed. So we will learn mostly about these three today: vertical speed. And as you can see now, our vertical speed is set to climb at 600 feet per minute. If I want to climb slower, I can just, of course, reduce it. So now I'm climbing at, this 300 feet per minute until I arrive to climb to 2,000 or to 3,000 feet, which is the altitude I set. The aircraft will settle and it will just fly straight without the vertical speed will be 0. Great. So let's wait until it comes to 3000 and enjoy the view a little bit from outside. We are in the area of the beautiful San Francisco, and I raised, of course, after we took off the landing gear. And if I look at the map, we are here in San Francisco. Very beautiful area. A lot of delicious food, many restaurants here. Okay, now let's have the first exercise. What is our heading? We are heading west, and we are approximately here, 260 magnetic north on the magnetic campus, west. Assume I want to turn now, so I can, you see this one here is called the heading bug. If I change it, this here, I can rotate it. Assume I want to fly back north, so I rotate it to north, and how can I tell the aircraft now turn north? Simply, I tell the aircraft now to go into heading mode, not from rolling mode, into heading mode. And notice now the aircraft changed to heading mode, and it will turn to north, to this indication I put, and it will continue to fly north. Can I rotate this while the aircraft is moving? Of course, I can correct it to make it perfectly north. That's nice. So let's turn back east as well. You notice now, once I rotated the heading bug, the aircraft immediately started to turn. Why? Because I'm already in heading mode. If I don't want this, I can turn it off. And now I'm back in rolling mode. Now in rolling mode, there is something always very interesting. The aircraft will continue what it is doing. What does it mean? It will continue now to turn on the same way. So if it's climbing, it will continue to climb. If it is turning, it will continue to turn, which is sometimes not what we want. But why the rolling mode is good is because when we are flying, the moment we click it, the aircraft will continue to do whatever we are doing. So let me go back now and put it on heading mode. And now, of course, because it will go back to the heading bug to go east, it will turn left and head towards east. And it will settle. Nice. So what can the autopilot control? So as you can see then, the autopilot can control our altitude and our heading. Can it control our speed? In this type of aircrafts, no. In commercial aircrafts, the autopilot can control the throttle as well. But in these aircrafts, the only thing that autopilot cannot control is the throttle, which means, you see, if I put more energy, the aircraft will maintain everything, but it will go faster. Because more energy means just higher speed. If I reduce the throttle, the aircraft will immediately maintain its pitch to maintain its altitude. Even if I go here, I think if I reduce the speed, you will see how the aircraft controls those so that the aircraft will continue to maintain its altitude. Fine, so then the throttle I have to do it myself manually, and in every aircraft normally there is something called the cruising throttle. And this type of aircraft is around 2500 RPM. So you never keep it this way, because you damage the engines, because this kind of energy we use only while takeoff. So we can just keep it around 2500. And within 2500 we will have a specific cruise, which is, this year it's around 170 knots. This aircraft can fly, around, so if I climb higher, we can go faster. If we want, I can increase the power, which is fine. So I can fly faster. Nice. So now we are flying east. Let's continue to fly east. And let's climb to 5,000 feet. So how do I climb to 5,000 feet? I can increase from here my altitude. 5,000. Nothing happened. Why? Because I need to tell the aircraft how to climb to 5,000 feet. There are multiple ways, but the simplest way, which we will cover here today, is I come to the autopilot and I need to change manually the vertical speed. So now I am flying 3,000, but I want to set it to 5,000. So I don't send the altitude from here, I set it from here. And the GPS, or this navigation system, flight management control, has a complete connection with the instruments of the aircrafts. So this is why when I set the altitude from here, I can from here tell the aircraft how to climb to this altitude. So I need to come and say vertical speed. Now it is 0, you notice? So I need to change it lower. If I put it lower, the aircraft now, you notice, is descending, but I wanted to climb, so I'm now climbing at 500 feet per minute. As you can see here, this is my vertical speed. When I climb faster, no problem. This aircraft has very powerful engines. It can climb up even easily 2,000 feet per minute, which is quite fast. But of course, you notice here, when I'm climbing, my speed is decreasing, so I can put here more power, so that if I don't want to allow my speed to decrease while I am climbing. But I have not to forget, once I'm about to arrive to my set altitude, is to take back the power, because I may go easily over speed once I come to the defined altitude. So I put here 2,000 feet, but you notice it's not climbing 2,000 feet. Why? There's not enough energy, because it maintains a little bit of safe speed. If I put more power, this will go. But now, because I'm coming to 5,000, you notice now, when it starts to come to 5,000, it will, of course, take down the vertical speed. It will, settle, and now the speed will start to go much faster. And now it's the time to reduce back the throttle to the cruise. power. Now we are at 5,000 feet. Nice. So let's change the direction. Let's fly south. How do we change the direction? We just rotate this heading bug. And you notice once I rotate it now, the aircraft, why? Because we are in heading mode. And this is the heading indicator, the attitude indicator. And as you can see here, it's showing me I covered all the 6 packs instruments in a previous video. If you did not watch my previous videos, please do so. Nice. So now we are flying south. Let's climb to 10,000 feet. And because we have a powerful aircraft, let's try to climb it as fast as possible. So we set here the vertical speed, and we say we want to climb 2,000 feet per minute, and we set the power to 3,500 RPM. Now we notice we are climbing near 2,000 feet per minute, which is what we want. You see how the pitch is up, the aircraft is climbing. Still, our vertical speed is around 1,500. At the throttle maximum, we can climb faster, but as we mentioned above, 3,500 RPM, not recommended for the engine for long time. Now, I wanted to climb here to show you. Now you notice when it becomes 9,000, the aircraft will beep. Why? Oh, always when we are climbing or descending, 1,000 before we arrive or come to the set altitude, whether we are climbing or descending, the aircraft will beep. Why this is important? Because it's giving us an indication that there is 1,000 to come to the set altitude. And once we come to the set altitude, we have to make an action. Because if you are descending, and come to the set altitude, the aircraft will reduce its speed. Why? Because we have been, when we are descending, we are gaining speed. So maybe we need to increase power, otherwise we will stall. And when we are climbing, also we need to pay attention now, which means because once we settle on the altitude we set, the speed will start to increase. And assume we are flying like here 180 knots. If we stop climbing, then the speed can go to the yellow and even to the green. And this is the most dangerous thing when you are flying over speed, because you can lose one wing, and then the aircraft will immediately crash. Losing a wing is more dangerous than losing an engine, because we can fly with one engine, which we will do in future videos. But losing a wing, the aircraft will simply just crash. So this is why monitoring our speed is key, and this is important when we are climbing or descending to make an action. And this is why the warning that always come 1,000 feet before the set altitude. Wow, okay, now 10,000 feet. You see San Francisco from up. Now let's do something. Let's descend to 1,000 feet. You notice once even I'm rotating this, the warning comes when there is a difference of 1,000 feet. Now we will go down to 1,000 feet. Now, of course, nothing is happening. Why? Because we need to put the vertical speed. Here, it's dangerous. If I put vertical speed and I want to descend, and if I want to descend very fast, like as we mentioned, 2,500 feet, you notice, look at the speed. It's increasing rapidly. I need to immediately take power. If I don't, my speed I will go immediately over speed and I will crash. So this is why when descending fast, this is why it's highly not recommended to descend, with this speed, 2,500 feet per minute. You can descend like 500 feet, 600 feet. Normally 600 feet descent is the 3 degrees, which is normally the glide slope for landing, which is very comfortable for passengers. But if you want to descend slightly faster, like 1,000 feet per minute, is still fine. But this kind of descent now is very, very fast, and you may do it for some reason. Normally also it's not economical. Climbing and descending gradually saves energy as well. So you notice I am kind of having no power from the engine, and my speed is very fast. Even I cannot reduce my speed, because when I'm descending, I'm substituting my height with speed. And this is why now the beep, paying attention to the beep 1,000 before is key. Why? Because now once we come immediately to 1,000 feet, our speed will go so low and we may stall. This is why we need to increase power again. And also we need to pay attention to the terrain. This is why, I think after those here we will go to the sea. In this GPS, we can monitor the terrain, which we will see in future videos. So if there is anything danger around us. So notice now, it is dangerous because we have high mountains and we are still descending. So let us stop our descent. How can we do that? Vertical speed, and we immediately change our vertical speed. You notice the aircraft looks as climbing, but no, it's still descending. And now we stop the descent because we set it to 0 feet per minute, even though it's here set at 900. So once I change my vertical speed, and now I'm flying, what altitude? And look here my speed, how it's started to decrease. Why? Because there is no enough, energy. So I can, but of course everything happens gradually. So descending is more dangerous once I start to descend very fast, because I can gain speed much faster. Good. Now let's turn back and go to the area that we came from. Sorry, not here. Here I will set it 2000 first, and then here I will go back north. Beautiful mountains, a lot of trees. Okay, so how is our student doing? Good? Enjoying the lesson? I did not tell you, but we have a number of passengers as well. They decided to come with us. This is the family of the student pilot. Very beautiful aircraft. I was looking at on the internet. I think this aircraft is around $200,000. I don't know. I think it's a good bargain. And now let's descend to 1,000 feet as we wanted, because now we don't have terrain. Vertical speed. And let's descend to 1,000 feet fast, like 2,000 feet per minute. And look at carefully our speed. So we reduce throttle so that we don't. So in this simulator, I set everything to be neutral. So I crashed so many aircrafts because of not paying attention to this while descending. Go easily over speed, and then the aircraft crashes. Now 3,000 feet. And you can imagine there will be a beep at 2,000, right? And look at our speed, how. So this is why if you want to reduce the speed now, the best way is, if I cannot do it more with using the throttle, I reduce my descent rate, which is the vertical speed. Instead of 2,000, of course, I put it 1,000. But here I wanted to show you how fast descent can increase the speed dramatically, and how you can pay attention to that. So yeah, using the autopilot, you can fly quite low. You can enjoy views, Now, while the aircraft is descending, if while it settles, I put it 500, it will not continue. Go vertical speed, and for safety, right? So the autopilot is supposed to protect the pilot, not to make the pilot make mistakes. Great. One more turn to the right, and then we can end this flight. We are turning left, going west now. Are at 500 feet, which is normally the altitude we come to before landing immediately. But because we are training, we can do some experimentations. There is no real life danger in here. Even come to 400 feet. Here I don't descend so fast. Quite nice. What? Connection lost. Strange. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and see you in future videos. Of course, now it is quite low. Vertical speed. We climb a little bit. It's very nice. Successfully connected back. All right. So in the next video, we will cover the navigation system and how to start to set waypoints and fly to those waypoints. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe, and see you in future videos. Bye bye.